My wife was always cold and distant. In 10 years of marriage, she never once told me she loved me. Before I died, I found a love letter she had written long ago, but it wasn't addressed to me. It turns out she had only ever been indifferent to me. The first thing I did after being reborn was cancel our engagement and help her deliver that love letter. She turned red with anger and, for the first time, yelled at me, "Hugh, who asked you to meddle in my affairs?" 1 hour before the elevator accident, I had been cleaning the attic when I found a yellowed love letter. The handwriting was familiar, the signature was familiar, but the name at the beginning wasn't mine. This was a love letter Celine had written to another man. And as the elevator plummeted, all I could think about was how I never even got the chance to find out who the man she loved was, what he looked like, or whether he was much better than me. When I woke up again, sunlight was pouring in, bright enough to sting my eyes. My head felt foggy, and my brother Domingo was standing beside me, sighing, "You finally woke up. You scared me to death just now." Luckily, the people around you reacted fast and brought you to the infirmary. The boy in front of me was wearing a high school uniform, 17-year-old Domingo. The warm sensation in my hands told me this wasn't a dream. I really had been reborn. I heard footsteps rushing toward me, and then a figure appeared in the light. "Are you okay?" Celine asked coldly, holding bread and milk in her hands. Memories flooded back. Yes, that day I had overslept and skipped breakfast, and I fainted during the morning exercises from low blood sugar. Celine handed me the food and watched me eat. That morning, she had a physics test, but she skipped it because I fainted and later got scolded by her teacher. 17-year-old me used to think she cared about me. But with my 32-year-old mindset, I knew she only took care of me because she had promised my dad. Celine's father and my dad were comrades. When her father died in the line of duty, her mother took the compensation money and left. My dad, seeing that Celine had nowhere to go, took her in. Living under someone else's roof, she always obeyed my dad and never dared to defy him. From then on, she became my little follower, and everyone joked that I had a well-behaved child bride. Later, when my dad realized I had a crush on her, he'd tease her, saying she'd be our family's daughter-in-law someday. She never said anything. Back then, I thought she was just shy. Looking back now, I realize how foolish I was. During class, I couldn't focus, replaying everything from my previous life. I didn't want to drag Celine down again. Maybe if I didn't marry her, she'd be much happier, and maybe I wouldn't end up dying again. During evening self-study, the teacher went 10 minutes overtime, and the students rushed out as soon as class ended. When I packed my things, I noticed Celine standing at the door, waiting with her head lowered over her mistake correction book. The light made her look even more distant and cold. We walked out in silence. She was always like this, aloof, indifferent, as if nothing in the world mattered. Watching her walk ahead, I suddenly stopped. "Celine, you should go home first. You don't need to walk with me anymore. And don't wait for me in the future." "Why?" "There's no reason. You're free now, Celine." I headed toward the back street to buy some exercise books and improve my terrible math. Behind me, someone caught up and asked coldly, "Hugh, what's wrong with you this time? Is it because I was late this morning? Or did you not like the milk I bought? The supermarket only had that flavor." In the moonlight, she looked like she was asking, "What are you trying to pull now?" I tried to explain, "It's not that. The college entrance exams are coming up. Everyone's time is precious. You don't need to waste yours on me. I need to work hard too." She froze, probably the first time she'd heard me say something like that. I used to cling to her. I didn't get into Beijing University, but she did. Yet she stayed in our small hometown because of something my dad said. Back then, I thought it meant she liked me but didn't show it. She must have regretted it. Beijing University was her dream. Celine didn't follow me. I went to the bookstore and picked out exercises and a book on essays. But when I went to pay, my money was gone. I searched the store but couldn't find it. Maybe it was stolen or lost. I sighed and decided to come back tomorrow. As I turned, I bumped into someone. "Watch out!" the girl exclaimed, dropping her comic book while trying to protect her bowl of barbecue. "Sorry." I looked closely. It was Naomi, a close friend I met in college. How was I running into her now? What a coincidence, classmate. My friend and I took you to the infirmary this morning after you fainted. Are you okay now? Oh, I'm fine, thank you. I hadn't expected this at all. Naomi picked up her comic and, noticing I seemed troubled, took my books and paid for them too. I saw you searching around earlier. Did you lose your money? I nodded quickly. She was destined to study criminal investigation. She noticed everything. I said I'd pay her back tomorrow, but she waved it off. Just treat me to a meal. We walked out, and the streets were almost empty except for a few students. Seeing some delinquent teens ahead, I told her I'd walk her home. I went to the garage and brought out a black motorcycle. When we reached her building, the roar of the motorcycle faded. She worried someone might pour water down from upstairs, so she told me to keep it low when I left. I smirked. Can't really keep it down. My big guy is just that powerful. That sounded wrong. When I got home, I unexpectedly ran into Celine at the entrance. Strange. Hadn't I told her to go home first? Why was she slower than me? We walked into the building together, tension thick in the silence. Inside the elevator, she suddenly asked, "Is that girl the reason you're working so hard?" No. We just ran into each other. Quite a coincidence. Her tone was cold, as if she didn't care. I didn't explain further. At home, she usually finished her homework before showering. When she went to the bathroom, I sneaked into her room and found the love letter. She always hid things in the same place, under a pile of books. I opened the letter, but no matter how I thought about it, I couldn't figure out who this Lee classmate was. Maybe someone from her class. But with how cold she was, I doubted anyone would be interested. Maybe I should help her out. The next day, I went to school with dark circles. After investigating all night, I learned there were only 2 girls surnamed Lee in her class, no boys. Math class was a blur. Even reborn, I still couldn't solve the questions I never could before. The gap between us seemed inevitable. At noon, I was about to take Naomi to lunch, but Celine was waiting again, holding my favorite roast chicken. I told you, you don't need to wait for me. Go do your own thing. Oh. She handed me the bag. Thanks, but you don't have to buy it for me anymore. She looked confused and sighed. Hugh, what did I do to upset you? You've been avoiding me. It's not you. It's me. I've just realized a few things. As I walked toward the cafeteria, I remembered something and turned back. By the way, when my dad said you should be my wife, he was just joking. You don't have to take it seriously. And you don't have to listen to him so much. Celine, do your best on the college entrance exams and go to your dream university. She frowned, not understanding. At the cafeteria, Naomi had already found us a spot. What's that? She asked. Roast chicken. For you. Thanks for yesterday. Naomi waved it off, but after smelling it, she grabbed a drumstick and devoured it. Just as I was about to speak, a cold voice cut in. No wonder you were so eager to ditch me. Are you two dating? Naomi nearly choked. I turned to see Celine's indifferent gaze, and guilt washed over me, as if I'd been caught cheating. But wait, we weren't married anymore. Naomi sensed something was wrong and went to buy water. It's not what you think, I said. We just met. We're just classmates. But Celine interrupted, irritated. You don't need to explain. I won't tell Uncle, so you don't need to avoid me. Her voice was cold, with a hint of anger. When Naomi returned, she asked who that girl was. Judging by her expression, she definitely thought Celine and I were a couple. I briefly explained, and Naomi smiled knowingly. Oh, childhood sweethearts. She seems to care about you. Not really. Celine couldn't wait to get rid of me. On Friday after school, Domingo wanted to try a new dish at the barbecue place across from school and dragged me along. This place has always been popular. The roast chicken Celine bought came from here. Domingo ordered 2 special roast chickens. While waiting, I overheard staff saying they were out of stock and discussing it with Mr. Lee, the owner. Then I saw a boy in uniform slip into the back, Mr. Lee's son, surname Lee. His name was Sam Lee. I'd seen it on the list of participants for the English essay competition. A top student, always in the top 50, and often interacting with Celine since they both joined competitions. No wonder she often bought roast chicken. She got to see the boys she liked. She always seemed in a better mood afterward. I used to think it was because of me. A wave of displeasure hit me, but I pushed it down. To confirm, I approached Sam. "Hello, Sam. I'm a friend of Celine's. She left something behind." "Huh? Did she?" he said, checking his bag. "She just explained 2 math problems to me and lent me her math notebook. I don't think she left anything." So they did know each other. I recognized the notebook. I'd bought it for her. I used to ask her for help, but she'd lose patience, and embarrassed, I eventually stopped. Maybe I remembered wrong. "I'll tell her later." Domingo and I left, and he handed me the roast chicken, but I had no appetite. When your mood is bad, everything tastes bitter. "Why aren't you eating? Isn't it good?" Domingo asked. "Hey, what were you talking to Sam about?" "Nothing. How do you know his name?" Domingo lowered his voice. "My friend said he's the adopted son of Mr. Lee." So I remembered. Now that I knew who the love letter was for, I felt a strange relief. I wondered what kind of hope Celine had felt when she wrote it. I envied Sam. I remembered confessing to her in our 2nd year. What did she say? "Got it." Cold, distant, as if it troubled her. That night, after finishing my mistake corrections, I planned to memorize English words. Suddenly my phone lit up. Naomi had sent me several worksheets. "Naomi, these are math worksheets from my mom. Try them. If you don't understand, ask me." Her mother taught advanced math. It was like receiving special tutoring. I thanked her with a funny emoji. Suddenly the door burst open. Celine walked in with a dark expression, the first time she didn't knock. "Did you mess with something in my room?" She didn't say what, but I already knew. A guilty feeling welled up inside me as I took the letter out of the drawer. "Sorry, I didn't mean to snoop." I had intended to help them get together, but I didn't expect to be caught so quickly. Celine took back the letter, her face unhappy, probably because her secret had been exposed. Feeling bitter, I still gathered my courage. "I know who you wrote that letter to. It's that guy from the barbecue shop, right? Since you like him, you should confess soon. He's so outstanding. What if someone else snatches him away? Anyway, the college entrance exams are coming up. Afterward, you can pursue him openly. You won't have to pretend to buy roast chicken for me anymore." "Who asked you to meddle in my business?" She glared at me, anger simmering in her eyes. "I just want you to be happy." "Happy?" She scoffed. "It seems like you started dating and couldn't wait to get rid of me. You used to say you liked me, but you changed your tune pretty quickly." I was stunned. Didn't expect her to think that way. "You don't like me? You don't even like me, so why should I put all my eggs in one basket?" I retorted angrily. "Yeah, you'd better not put them here." "I can't stand the smell," she said coldly before turning away and slamming the door. I bit my lip, seething with determination. "Celine, I will never like you again in this life." For the next week, I didn't say a word to Celine. My dad thought we were both just focused on preparing for the exams, so he didn't say anything. Over the weekend, I went to the library with Naomi to work on problems. She's better than me at academics and her thinking is more flexible, so she often explains things to me. When she feels stressed, I take her for a ride on my black motorcycle. Thinking about how we would be lifelong best friends gave me some hope. Maybe it was because I doubled my effort this time, but my grades improved by more than 10 places in the monthly exams. My dad got a call from my homeroom teacher and was grinning from ear to ear. Celine, who was making coffee, overheard and glanced at me, scoffing softly, "Impressive, dating hasn't affected your studies." "Same to you. Secretly crushing on someone didn't stop you from getting first place, did it?" I deliberately retorted and turned back to my room to work on assignments, avoiding her sour expression. There was only 1 month left until the college entrance exams. It was the most focused and detached I'd ever been, with nothing but questions and scores in my head. I didn't even have time to think about romance. June arrived with scorching heat and the exams. I was fully prepared and felt confident as I began writing. Even the final math problem, which I used to give up on, I managed to answer something, even if I wasn't sure it was correct. The final bell rang, marking the end of the exam and the conclusion of my high school journey again. As I walked out, I saw Sam standing with Celine. She seemed anxious, probably because she hadn't done well on some questions and was nervously comparing answers with him. Maybe love is truly blind. Celine seemed more patient with him than with anyone else. I walked past them and headed toward Domingo and Naomi. We'd planned to go to the amusement park, karaoke, and Happy Valley to enjoy ourselves before the scores were released. I spent days going wild outside, and my dad didn't even bother to control me. Surprisingly, Celine called every day asking when I would be home. Sometimes if it got late I would take Naomi home first. Whenever Celine found out, she always had something snarky to say. That night happened to be my birthday. I turned 18. It was past midnight when I got home slightly tipsy with Naomi walking me back. When we reached the building she suddenly called out, "Hugh, how about I spend every birthday with you from now on?" It was too dark to see her expression clearly, and I thought she was declaring the start of a revolutionary friendship. "Of course. You're my best buddy." I gave her a few hearty pats on the back. She coughed a few times, hiding sadness in her eyes. "You hit so hard you almost lost a buddy." We both laughed. Then we ran into Celine, who had come downstairs to take out the trash. She stared at us resentfully and said with irritation, "Hugh, it's past midnight. Why aren't you home yet? Hey, you'd better go back. Your little childhood friend is calling you," Naomi teased, waving and reminding me to drink some honey water when I got home. On the way up in the elevator, Celine kept nagging. For the first time I found her as talkative as an old lady. "Are you done yet?" "I'm home, aren't I?" She stiffened, her tone odd. "Am I annoying? Didn't you promise you'd be home before 10? What if something happened to you? How would I explain it to Uncle?" Today was an exception. I was with Naomi and the others. There was no danger. Even if I hadn't come home, I'd have somewhere to go. Out late at night and not coming home. Where do you plan to go with her? Just because you're dating doesn't mean you can act recklessly. Celine's tone grew stern and she looked on edge. I glanced at her curiously. "Why are you being so harsh?" She averted her gaze awkwardly and fell silent. When we got home, as I poured water, she spoke quietly. "Today's your birthday. Why didn't you invite me?" "Oh, I forgot." The truth was I didn't forget. I just didn't want to remember unhappy things on such a supposedly happy day. Celine lowered her eyes, looking downcast, went to the fridge to get honey, and after a moment handed me a blue box. "Happy birthday." "Thanks." I finished my honey water but felt no urge to open it. She hesitated, as if she wanted to say something, then lowered her head and returned to her room. I didn't expect much. In the past she'd give me cheap anime character cards from QR scans. Reluctantly I opened the box and was stunned. It was a handmade little boy with a cool backpack resembling me when I was younger, made by hand, with 2 visible holes in the weave. This was rare. The day the college entrance results were released, my dad was with us checking scores. Celine unsurprisingly scored high, 698. When I saw my score, 622, tears welled in my eyes. "That's great, that's really great. You've both made me so proud," my dad said, his eyes red as he patted my head and promised a big dinner. He took a screenshot and posted it on social media. "By the way, Hugh, which school are you thinking of? When are you going to fill out the application?" "I'm planning to stay local at a 985 university. I want to stay close to Dad." Domingo and Naomi were also thinking of staying in the province. "Good, good. That way I won't have to worry about you being alone in an unfamiliar place." In my last life I didn't do well and chose an engineering major. This time I could choose medicine. My mother had passed when I was very young, and I wanted to contribute. Celine didn't seem surprised by her score. Sam probably scored similarly so they could go to Beijing University together. While my dad was on the phone, Celine suddenly asked, "You want to stay here mainly because of Naomi, right? Do you really like her that much? What does that have to do with you?" I was starting to get annoyed. She'd been meddling more and more. Celine stared at me, her gaze no longer indifferent. "Hugh, if you say the word, I can stay in the province with you too." "There's no need. Your grades are so good. Staying here would be a waste. You should go to Beijing University. Sam will probably get in too, so you'll have someone to accompany you." I didn't give him the love letter. Oh. My phone lit up. Naomi was calling. As I reached to answer, Celine grabbed my wrist, visibly upset. "Don't you care at all?" "Care about what?" "Care about you. Who was it that said not to put all my eggs in one basket, afraid it would bring bad luck?" Even after I repeated her exact words back to her, her face paled. I shook off her hand and went to the balcony to take the call. Naomi's parents both work in the province, so she decided to stay, and we ended up choosing the same university. Great, we could keep going on motorcycle rides together. After that day, I didn't pay much attention to what Celine was up to. Whether she pursued Sam was no longer my concern. Summer flew by and I spent days hanging out with Naomi. We learned to drive, got licenses, and got so much sun we tanned. Celine received her acceptance letter to Beijing University and left without saying goodbye, as if upset with me. The life of a medical student is incredibly busy. I ran between library and classroom, and even meeting Naomi for a meal required scheduling. During finals, staring at thick textbooks, I nearly cried. Naomi, noticing my weight loss, often brought me food and kept me company while I studied. "Why do you look so relaxed? Don't you need to study?" I asked. "It's all in my head," she shrugged. I envied her memory. Because Naomi often came to see me, classmates started gossiping that she was pursuing me, and I sensed she treated me differently, but Naomi acted like nothing had changed. After exams, I celebrated her birthday at school, but worried whether I'd answered pathology correctly. Naomi looked at the candles and smiled. "I don't really have any wishes, so why don't you make one for me, Hugh? Don't be so gloomy. From now on I'll make all my wishes for you. Will that make you smile?" I forced a smile and made my wish. "I hope I don't fail any classes. Please, I'm begging you." "All right, the heavens have heard you," she said, blowing out the candles, eyes full of affection. During summer break, I saw Celine for the first time in half a year. She'd chosen law and was busy with debate competitions and club activities. In the 2 weeks she was home, we coexisted like strangers, peaceful, until Thursday night. Celine went out with friends and came back very late. I was almost asleep when I heard a stumbling noise at the entrance and a crash against the hallway cabinet. I got up and saw her on the floor looking dejected. "What happened? Did you drink too much?" I was about to make honey water when she grabbed my wrist. "Hugh, I ran into Naomi today." "And?" she said. "She said you two aren't together at all." "Oh," I responded indifferently, not realizing how much it irritated her. Celine suddenly stood up and hugged me, eyes full of complex emotion. "Why didn't you tell me? Why did you let me misunderstand for so long? Was it fun for you to toy with me? Do you know that I—" She trailed off, eyes red. I looked at her expressionlessly, but to say I wasn't affected would be a lie. I found it almost amusing. "Celine, I explained back then, but you didn't want to listen. Now what right do you have to question me?" In the silence, she seemed to recall the cafeteria day when she saw me with another girl. That feeling had lingered and grown. Celine wiped her eyes and mustered courage. "Hugh, I don't think I can let you go. Can you keep liking me?" Many times before I had imagined this, but now that it happened it was too late. "No, I can't." "Why not?" she asked anxiously, gripping me. "Is it because of that love letter?" I was immature before, unable to distinguish admiration from love. I don't like Sam. I felt a connection as a fellow kindred spirit. "Is that so?" I said. But I never felt her love, only impatience and indifference. "Give me a chance. Let's start over and I promise you'll feel it. Please." Her drunken eyes fixed on me like I was her last lifeline. I pushed her away several times, but she wouldn't let go. The more I resisted, the more desperate she became. "Hugh, please, love me again." She leaned in to kiss me. I panicked, jerking away and forcefully pushing her back. She crashed into the cabinet with a dull thud, shattering the night's silence. The pain snapped her back to reality. Celine slowly let go, eyes full of sorrow. "Hugh, I didn't want to hear any more." I quickly retreated to my room. The next day I tried to act like nothing had happened, but Celine looked at me with guilt in her eyes. At noon Naomi came to pick me up. We had planned to see the latest movie release that day. She looked really pretty today in a floral dress. When she saw my downcast expression, she got worried. "What's wrong? Are you sick or in a bad mood?" "Nothing." I reached up to grab my hat, but she suddenly grabbed my wrist. There were a few scratches, clearly caused by someone else. "Who did this?" She became alert, her police instincts kicking in. "I did it to myself by accident." Naomi clearly didn't believe me. Her eyes locked onto Celine, who was sitting on the couch, and she walked over to confront her. "Did you do this to him?" "Yes." Celine, who had been watching us since we walked in, was clearly at the end of her patience. "You little—" Naomi lunged at her, and I quickly grabbed her in fear. But Celine seemed to have found an outlet for her frustration and started pulling Naomi's hair, ready for a fight. Panicking, I yelled at them to let go. If my dad came home to find this mess, he'd kill us. "Stop it, both of you. Can't you calm down?" I pulled Naomi away, seeing she had a few scratches on her face. What a future police officer, acting so impulsively. But Celine didn't look any better. Naomi had received training and knew exactly where to hit to cause the most pain, leaving Celine pale though the marks weren't immediately visible. Naomi fell silent under my glare and meekly said, "The movie's about to start. Let's go." "Forget the movie, you're hurt. Let's go to the pharmacy and get some medicine." I angrily dragged her out the door, completely forgetting someone else was hurt too. Celine watched us leave, covering her face in sadness. After buying the medicine, I helped Naomi apply it and she winced in pain. "From now on, no more fighting. What you learned is to protect people, not to start fights." "She bullied you and you're defending her," Naomi pouted, clearly not satisfied. "I'm not defending her. I'm defending you. If you get reported and punished, won't that affect your future as a police officer?" Naomi paused, a small smile forming on her lips before she winced again. "Hugh, you care about me that much?" "No. Yes, you do." After the falling out with Celine, she didn't do anything extreme anymore. But it seemed like she really did start to like me and was trying to show it. Every holiday she would come back to cook for me and give me carefully chosen gifts. On my birthday, National Day, and Christmas she was always around at school. I watched her struggle with sleep deprivation, dark circles under her eyes from rushing back by plane. I only felt like she was wasting her time, but she seemed to care only about whether I was happy. On my birthday in my senior year, I was moving to another campus. Naomi was interning at the police station and had been sent out on a mission, so she couldn't be there to celebrate with me. Celine was in the kitchen cooking all my favorite dishes. I stared at my chat window with Naomi, distracted. "What are you looking at?" "Dinner's ready." "Nothing. I wonder what Naomi has been up to these days. Is her job dangerous? What if she—" "Hugh," Celine's sharp voice snapped me out of it and I realized I was sitting in front of her. "You've been talking about her since I got back." She was clearly displeased but also helpless. "Oh, sorry. Hugh, when will you ever look at me? Let's eat. This soup looks good." Celine sighed, feeling like she had tried her best but wondering why things couldn't go back to the way they were. Late at night, as I was about to sleep, my phone lit up. "Naomi, open the window." I quickly pulled back the curtains and saw Naomi standing outside, waving something glowing in her hand. I ran down, surprised to see her. "Didn't you say you might not be back from your mission?" "Yeah, but I couldn't help it. I promised someone I'd spend every birthday with him from now on." She handed me a glowing jar and a box with my favorite sneakers inside. The fireflies in the jar flickered in the darkness. "It's for you. I found them during the mission and thought you'd like them." "Thanks." I smiled at her, feeling like I had something to say. "Naomi, she seemed to guess and quickly interrupted. "Hugh, happy birthday." I understood her hesitation given her job's nature. I swallowed my words and changed my response. "Thank you. I'm really happy." While Naomi was interning, I was pursuing my graduate studies. By the time Naomi became a team leader at the police station, I had just started my hospital internship. Seeing suffering and death every day was emotionally taxing. Then one day several severely injured people were brought to the hospital. Naomi was among them, stabbed in the abdomen, her spleen damaged, bleeding profusely. My mentor operated on her for a long time before the red light outside the operating room finally went off. I took a moment to check on her. Her face was pale and it looked like she might not make it. With red eyes, I silently prayed she would pull through. Late at night, I was by her bedside reviewing neurosurgery notes when I suddenly saw her fingers move slightly. I looked up and met her gaze. "Hugh, did you save me?" "No, it was my mentor. I only helped a little." I stood up to check her condition, asking if she felt dizzy or nauseous, making notes, and only then did I feel relieved. "You look so professional now." Naomi smiled, her eyes bright. "Of course. I've worked hard for many years. Then I'll be counting on Dr. Jiang from now on." "Don't say that. Just don't let me see you in the hospital again." She smiled, her hand lightly touching my fingertips. After hesitating, she didn't hold on. A nurse called me for rounds and I left after giving a few instructions. Then it was back to the usual busy routine. Naomi stayed in the hospital for a month with many colleagues visiting. Every time I did rounds her friends gave me knowing looks as if they all understood something. But Naomi didn't show anything. Even on discharge day she addressed me as Dr. Jiang, as usual. I handed her medicine, explained instructions, and tried to probe. "Hey Naomi, don't you have anything to say to me?" "What?" "That I'll follow the doctor's orders." She played dumb. I smiled helplessly. In the following years, Naomi frequently went on missions across the country, and sometimes I couldn't reach her. Celine remained just as impressive, landing a job at a top law firm after graduation and becoming a star lawyer within a few years. She's wealthy now and occasionally sends me strange but expensive things, some I haven't had time to open. They're all piled in my dad's study. The hospital is so busy that sometimes I barely have time to eat. Celine visited a few times, but we exchanged hardly a word before I was off to work again. Still, she's persistent, always finding time to contact me and occasionally sending gifts or meals to the hospital. Sometimes when she's drunk she calls and repeatedly asks, "Hugh, what do I have to do to make you like me? Will you tell me, please? Why are you treating me like this? You were the one who liked me first. How could you just change like that? I was wrong. I shouldn't have said those things. Will you come back? Can we go back to how we were? Hugh, I really miss you." No one's feelings change that quickly. In all the years we were together and in the 10 years we were married in my past life, she had so many chances to say she loved me. Since she didn't, it's best to let it go. It's time to move forward. Time flew by and I turned 32 this year. In my previous life, it was in December of this year that I died in an elevator accident. I wonder if there will be any accidents this time. The ringing phone interrupted my thoughts. Naomi's cheerful voice. "Dr. Jiang, my birthday is next week. What do you plan to get me?" I didn't know. This mischievous girl had pretended not to understand my hints for years, making it seem like we weren't a couple but more than friends. Now she wants a gift. She chuckled softly. "The Bureau is planning to promote me. I'll be sent on fewer missions and will be able to settle down here in the province. Oh, and then, I played dumb, like her. Then, this year I'll make my own birthday wish. It's a bit special. Do you think it will come true? Why don't you give it a try?" I feigned indifference but felt warm inside. Before we finished the call, a nurse rushed in saying the hospital director called an emergency meeting. I grabbed my notebook. The director announced an 8.0 earthquake had struck Tongqing and our hospital needed to send personnel. No wonder I felt dizzy at noon. It wasn't just my imagination. My name was on the list, so I packed and joined the team headed to Tongqing. When we arrived, the scene was devastation and wails of despair. We joined relief efforts immediately. Supplies were insufficient, access roads blocked, and necessary medication scarce. We posted on social media for help, and Celine contacted me right away saying she could donate supplies. Me, thank you. Celine, how are you thanking me? Is this the only way you'll talk to me? Me, I have to go. Celine, stay safe and reach out if you need anything. Late at night, just as I was about to switch shifts, a sudden tremor sent everyone into a panic. "Get under the table!" someone shouted. I took a step forward, but the ground gave way. Chunks of earth fell as the ground collapsed. Then darkness. I lost consciousness. The aftershock wasn't as strong, but still caused significant damage. I was trapped, pinned by debris, unable to move. Time slipped, I grew numb, lost feeling in my hands. My mouth was dry. I lacked strength to call for help. The darkness reminded me of freefall in the elevator. Was this predestined? Am I still going to die? My phone lit up, Naomi calling, but I couldn't answer. How awful. Even after being reborn, I still couldn't be with the one I love. My consciousness began to fade and my body lost warmth. Suddenly I heard frantic voices above. Hugh, where are you? It felt like I'd slept an eternity. When I woke, I was back in the hospital where I work. Hugh, you're awake. How are you feeling? Any discomfort? Naomi looked at me anxiously, tears welling. I shook my head. How was the rescue? Are the colleagues who were trapped with me okay? They're all fine and the situation stabilized. Do you know you've been asleep for half a month? She said, exasperated yet relieved, holding my hand like a treasure. Thank goodness you woke up. She lowered her head and tears fell onto the back of my hand, warm and intense. Did you rescue me? Yes. I couldn't reach you and then our team was sent to help. Thank you. Thank me for what? You've saved me before. We're even now. Naomi called the doctor to examine me, then bought nutritious meals and fed me spoon by spoon like a child. I stayed a few days to recover and Naomi kept a close eye the whole time. On the day I was discharged, I hadn't forgotten Naomi's birthday. Confessing is something a guy should do first, after all. I packed up, secretly prepared surprises with friends' help. In the evening, I waited for Naomi at the hospital entrance. As she approached, rose petals began to fall. Before she could react, I got down on one knee, the ring shining in my hand. Naomi, I love you. I've loved you since high school but was afraid of interfering with your career, so I never dared to tell you. Now will you give me this chance? Naomi, will you marry me? Her colleagues showered her with petals. Mine joined in excitement. She froze, face bright red. With tears she nodded, blushing for the first time. Out of the corner of my eye I saw a familiar figure at the edge of the crowd. Celine, holding a thermos, looking like she'd rushed over, sweat beading on her forehead, face pale and eyes full of sadness. I will, Naomi said loudly, smiling. I slipped the ring on her finger. It fit perfectly. Finally I had my answer. Naomi hugged me tightly, bursting into joyful tears. Wow, I've never seen the captain cry before. You don't get it. This is love. I'm so jealous. Is it too late to go back to high school? I don't want to be single anymore. That evening I received a message from Celine. Are you really going to marry her? Hugh, I've been with you the longest. Why is it her in the end? Won't you look at me again? I deleted the message and blocked her. Turning off my phone, I held Naomi close and drifted off to sleep peacefully. On the day I married Naomi, Celine didn't attend. But she sent an incredibly expensive diamond. When Naomi saw the gift, she immediately started making sarcastic comments, thinking that Celine still hadn't let go of a thief's mindset. Then she had the diamond set turned into a collar and put it on my dad's husky. A year after I got married, Celine was still single. Later, when Naomi gave birth to a daughter, Celine was still single. Even my dad advised her to find someone, pointing out how many people were pursuing her. She just quietly sipped her drink, her expression dark. After dinner, Celine looked at the little girl in the cradle, pressing her lips together. Hugh, she really looks like you. Yeah. If only back then. She didn't finish the sentence, holding back whatever she wanted to say with a faint sigh. Naomi frowned and glared at her suspiciously. What are you trying to do? He's my husband legally. Don't get any ideas. Celine sneered. Only temporarily legal. Life is long. Who knows, maybe one day you'll get divorced. She thought bitterly, jealousy stinging in her chest. You. Naomi was ready to throw a punch again, but with the family around, she held back. On the way home, Naomi was fuming, so angry she looked ready to curse even the stray dogs on the street. Later that night, while we were asleep, Naomi suddenly sat up and asked me, Hugh, where did you put our marriage certificate?" "Why? I want to hide it." "Stop being silly." I tried going back to sleep, but she started rummaging through drawers, thinking about hiding places. Epilogue. My name is Celine. From the first day I came to the Fu family, I knew Hugh and I would never be equals. Even though Uncle treated me well, if anything happened to Hugh, he would blame me for not taking proper care of him. So I always stayed close to Hugh, making sure he didn't get into trouble. Everyone said I was his child bride. I never argued, because that's exactly what I was. Being dependent on others made me feel trapped, and I hated that feeling. By extension, I also hated Hugh. He was always clinging to me, wanting to do everything with me. I couldn't refuse him, but deep down I resented it. To avoid making Uncle think he had adopted someone ungrateful, I had to please Hugh, making sure he didn't get upset. As we grew older, he became more and more handsome. I often found myself stealing glances at him, and when he caught me, I would pretend to be aloof and tell him he was vain. I didn't want to fall for him. I didn't want to lose the last bit of self-respect I had. But in our second year of high school, Hugh confessed his feelings for me. I felt a burst of happiness inside, but I forced myself to suppress it. He seemed disappointed with my reaction, but the very next day, he was back to clinging to me again. One day, he got sick and the medicine was too bitter. He asked me to get him some chicken. At the barbecue shop, I met Sam. He had just dropped a freshly grilled chicken wing, and his adoptive father scolded him harshly, calling him useless. If I hadn't been there, that man might have hit him harder. I saw Sam's cautious, timid demeanor and felt like we were the same. After that, I often used buying barbecue for Hugh as an excuse to visit the shop and see Sam. Every time I bought the food, I didn't rush back. I would sit there, feeling like I could finally breathe. In those moments, I didn't have to care about Hugh's or Uncle's emotions. Sometimes Sam and I talked about our families, and he would sigh, then go back to studying hard like a stubborn weed. I thought I should like a boy like him, only he could understand my feelings. I wrote Sam a love letter, but I never gave it to him. Something always felt off. My feelings for him weren't strong enough, and it wouldn't be fair. Lately, Hugh had been acting strange. It felt like he wanted to get rid of me. I saw him laughing with Naomi and realized they were probably dating. So much for saying he liked me. He moved on so quickly. I was secretly relieved, thinking I could finally be free of him. But at the same time, I was angry. Why did he have to like someone else? Then I noticed the love letter was missing. Instinctively, I suspected Hugh had taken it. Flustered and furious, I went to confront him. To my surprise, he was calm, as if it didn't matter who I liked. His indifference annoyed me even more. When we were filling out college applications, I told Hugh I could stay behind for him. But he didn't care about me anymore. Hurt and furious, I chose Beijing University far away. Once I got there, I regretted it. I wasn't by Hugh's side, but Naomi was. Hugh stopped paying attention to me, and even when he did, Naomi's name was always on his lips. I hated it. I wanted to go back to the time when he clung to me. But no matter what I did, we couldn't go back. Years passed, and Hugh and Naomi still hadn't gotten together. I thought I still had a chance. But Hugh was always busy and barely acknowledged me. No matter how expensive the gifts I sent him were, he no longer smiled at me like he used to. I was terrified. When Hugh was injured during a rescue mission, I broke down completely. I realized I couldn't wait anymore. I made his favorite soup and rushed to see him. But it was already too late. I regret it so much. Naomi was right. I had so many years to hold on to Hugh, but I didn't. I let him down. I pushed him away with my own hands. Hugh, please, be well.